What's poppin', guys? This is House Cat MMA. I'm in a hotel room right now. My dad's girlfriend kicked him out the house, and I'm just kind of hanging out with him. But right now, I'm going to be going over the top five coolest fighters I've ever met. I don't know why my face is so red. But before I get into all that, if you would just take a second to like and subscribe, that'd be the coolest thing you've done in December. So, Travis Brown, no particular order, but the first guy that comes to mind is Travis Brown. Me and my pops were at the Fan Expo International Fight Week 2014, and we had just met Dominick Cruz, and Dominick Cruz is still one of my favorite bantamweights, but he was a little bit of a dick when we met him, but he's still one of my favorites. I didn't judge him on that situation that day alone because he could have been having a bad day. But so we're just kind of like, me and my dad were kind of like disgruntled, like, oh god, he's kind of a dick to us. There's Travis Brown, let's go wait in line to meet him. And we did, and Travis Brown was he straight up struck a conversation with us. I don't remember what all he said, but he was just being cool as shit. It's something else to see him in person because he's so big. Because I'm not tall, but I'm not short, and I'm not used to having to look up to people. And I do got to look up to somebody who's 6'7", so it's a bit of a specimen. But cool guy. And another fighter I met who was really cool was Brian Stann. I saw Brian Stann on the airplane on the way to go to Vegas to watch UC 175. And I knew that me and Brian Stann lived in the same state, and I remember thinking it'd be so cool if we saw him at the airport and we're sitting on the airplane and I see Brian Stann walking through the aisle. I was like, god damn, that's Brian Stann. And Brian Stann at this point had just retired. And he would straight up struck a conversation with me. I brought him a napkin. I was like, can I get your autograph? He said, oh yeah, but they ripped out a piece of paper from my notebook he just had on him. I was like, yeah, thank you for the support, Brian Stann. And he struck a conversation with me. Just being a straight up cool guy. And he's like, you live here? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I moved here some years ago. It is a great place to live. And then I just kind of went on my merry way, but I was standing in the aisleway talking to him for about 10 minutes. And another guy who was really cool was Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson had just won. He's about to win the Ultimate Fighter because it's UFC 175, and then the next day it was the Ultimate Fighter finale, and he was about to win it. And so right now at this point he's just a finalist, and me and my dad were kind of looking at him because we recognized him from the Ultimate Fighter, and he saw us looking at him, and he was like, hey, you guys want a picture? And we're like, yeah. So, and that was kind of cool, to have a fighter ask, do you want me to take a picture with you? That was pretty fucking tight. But he didn't really start a conversation. I just thought it was cool that he asked us if we wanted a picture. And another guy was Krzysztof Sosinski. Krzysztof Sosinski was really cool because he wasn't even in a booth, because there were guys sitting in a bar stool with a high table, and guys were waiting in line, but we just kind of saw Krzysztof Sosinski walking around, and yeah, we had our picture made. He's billed at 6'2". He's about 6'1". And another guy was Phil Davis. Phil Davis was super cool. He was in one of the booths where we were meeting guys, and he struck up a conversation with us. He was all smiles, and so that's the top five coolest. Some honorable mentions. Frankie Edgar would have been super cool if he wasn't swamped. He just had so many people trying to meet him. Joe Rogan would have been cool if he wasn't swamped. Mike Goldberg was pretty cool. Dan Henderson was pretty cool. Shogun would have been really cool if he could speak English. Derek Lewis was kind of quiet, but he was cool. Forrest Griffin was quiet but cool. Brendan Schaub was very brief but cool. Michael Bisping, brief but cool. Kelvin Gastelum was all right. Luke Rockhold, we saw him, but he was on the phone. So I'm trying to think if I'm missing it. BJ Penn was quiet but cool. Daniel Cormier was quiet but cool. I remember when we met Joe Rogan. He was taking pictures with guys, and we were kind of waiting to have our picture made with him. And this guy kind of like grabbed Joe Rogan and was like pulling him close, to take a picture with him. And Joe Rogan didn't like the way he jostled him. And Joe Rogan was like, "Watch out with that fucking grab." Well, I don't think he did that, but he's like, "Watch out grabbing me." But he said, "Watch out for that fucking grab." Oh, Clay fucking Guida. Clay Guida. So me and my dad had really good seats. We were, so like when the fighters walk out, and they might touch a fighter's hand. Or, when fighters walk out, and they might touch a fan's hand or whatever. Me and my dad like right. So if you're standing right here, like walking, if you're a fighter, we were on the left side, and we were third row on that left side, and I was just kind of doing my deal. I was kind of like leaning over the rails, trying to like, kind of like, hey, like I met Craig Robinson, comedic actor, and I saw Clay Guida, and he was sitting like in the same vicinity, and I went and talked to him, and I asked him if I could take a selfie with him, and Clay Guida goes, "Nah, man, selfies are for chicks," and that was pretty tight. But that pretty much covers the whole fighters that I met that were pretty tight.
I think it's
pops
a bunch
right
of
here.
bullshit. These motherfuckers, pretentious goddamn assholes. I mean, what for whatever it's worth.
But this is House Cat MMA, and I'll catch y'all later.
Ah.